What is going on, faithfuls? It's your boy Mike. We are back with day 2 of March Madness, guys. The fun 15-minute segment where you guys get to ask me any questions at all that you may have. All right. This can be about sports. This can be about football, the 49ers, other teams in the NFL, different anything. We have my man DJ Malone in here. Chrissy is in here. DJ likes to ask questions about food. I mean, we're just going to go ahead and get things rocking here, guys. I do want to give you guys an update. I reached out to my guy, Brian. He didn't say that he wasn't going to come on, but he didn't say he was coming on tonight either. So we'll see what happens, man. We have about 29 more cracks of this thing before we can figure out exactly what's going to happen, all right? DJ Malone starts off the show with, what's Gucci, my faithful? How are y'all doing on this fine evening? Is Mariota the vet QB we should be looking at signing in free agency? And then what did you guys have for dinner? This is a very, very good question here. There's a lot of people who are going to say that Mariota is a guy, right? I think he could be serviceable here, right? It depends on what you're looking for as a vet, right? Does Mariota want to go somewhere and try to compete for a starting job? Because if that's the case, then this is not the stop for him. Is he going to go somewhere and just be a part of a system? Is he going to go somewhere and sincerely just be a solid backup? If that's what he's looking to do, then absolutely he can do that. There's no need for him to go somewhere and start trying to be bigger than Trey Lance, or come in and be bigger than Brock Purdy, right? But according to the Niner fan base, man, any quarterback that does come in here, they're going to have to be third fiddle. They're going to be behind not only Trey Lance or Brock Purdy, but then the other guy. Whoever is the starter, everyone's going to want the other guy to be the backup. And so it's going to be pretty hard to convince someone to come in here and be number 3. And also, are the Niners really about to keep 3 active quarterbacks on their roster? This is something that we have to keep a track of throughout the season. The 49ers do have a question into the NFL and the competition committee about the third quarterback being an emergency quarterback that does not count against your active game day roster. If that goes through, then perhaps we have something here. But if it doesn't go through, this all might be for naught, right? Like we might not have to worry about whether or not we have a third quarterback. It might just be a Trey Lance and Brock Purdy thing. And as far as what I had for dinner, what did I have for dinner? I think, all right. So my first dinner, I had a little bit of Chinese food. I had it was beef and garlic sauce with the big peppers and onions in it. It was actually more vegetables than there was beef. I don't know why they call it beef and garlic sauce. They should call it vegetables and garlic sauce with random pieces of chunky meat in it. They shouldn't call it that because nobody would order it. And then right before the show, I got a little bit of cereal, man. I got a little bit of cereal. All right. Let's see here. We have John. John, what's going on, John? Make sure you send those questions in, okay? DJ Malone comes in again. He says, have y'all seen the Sonic movies? All right, so I saw one, or maybe I saw 2. One had Jim Carrey in it, and the other one did not. My son was crazy about them. And my daughters, they were pretty cool with it as well. So, I it is what it is, man. I have seen them though. Does Rudy, the Lambs fan in the chat, eat chocolate ice cream? I'm going to say yes, he does. He does eat chocolate ice cream because Rams fans as wholes consume that in their diet. Yeah, so it happens, right? But shout out to the Rams people coming into the Niners chats to show some love. And guys, make sure you send questions, all right? The whole purpose of this is for you guys to ask me any questions that you want, all right? Don't be a Grinch, all right? Come on in here, ask the questions that you want to ask. Don't be shy. That goes for you, Lewis. That goes for you, the Rams fan. Danny, you too, all right? Danny is actually in here with a very good question here. Do Niners need a top 10 quarterback to win Super Bowl? Seems like the Niners fall short of an average quarterback. I don't think so. I don't think that we need a not this past year and probably not this upcoming season either. I think the weapons on this team will make just an average quarterback sufficient. All right. We unfortunately fell into a point where we didn't have a quarterback at all in the biggest game of the season, in the NFC Championship game, right? I don't know how phenomenal Brock Purdy is, right? But I don't know how phenomenal he needs to be either. I don't think that Brock Purdy needs to be this great, super athletic, big, deep shot guy down the field. I don't think the Niners need that right now. They need someone that's going to come in, run the ship, run the show the way that Kyle's asking them to, be on time with their reads, and just don't cost us anything. The talent around the quarterback for the 49ers right now is so good that anybody is going to be decent, and decent can win you a game when you have elite players at the skill positions on the offensive side of the ball, and you have a number one defense. All right. So do the Niners need a top 10 quarterback to win the Super Bowl? No, they don't. That doesn't mean that they won't later. Once they do find their quarterback, their franchise guy, and they start doling out their money, that franchise guy is going to have to come in and compensate for some of the things that we're going to lose, some of the players that we're going to have to let walk in free agency and so on. All right. Going back up here a little bit. I did miss one here. What do Chihuahuas like eating again? What? Mike, do you remember the story I told you on that late night draft show with Nick and Brian? I didn't make you wait 3 hours for it. Bacon or sausage for breakfast? Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what Chihuahuas like to eat either. This sounds like a riddle. What's the answer to this one, man? And if I have to pick bacon or sausage for breakfast, I would probably go with, it depends on the kind of sausage. There's a spicy sausage that I like. It just comes in like a little roll, almost like a ground beef roll. If I had that as a side, I would like that because I like spicy sausage. But then there's also this really good like maple bacon that's got this sweet and salty thing going on. That's also really good. You can't go wrong with either, but I would probably go with sausage. All right, let's see here. Where we at? I see a what's up, Mike from Lewis. What's going on, man? All right, here we go. Imsley says, how should we measure our lives? And years, and moments, and accomplishments, or something else? This is a phenomenal question. I actually wish I didn't know how old I was. I'm going to go with moments, right? I would go with experiences and with moments. The age and the birthday celebrating is a constant reminder of our mortality and a countdown, right? I would much prefer that you are as old as you feel, right? If we didn't know that at certain ages, certain things start happening to our body, certain changes start happening, just what is the mind making our body do? So I really like this question. I think that time or years should not be the answer, though. Very, very good. Yes, and I said chocolate ice cream. I didn't say poop. All right. If you actually Google what that emoji is, they'll tell you the same thing as chocolate ice cream. All right. Should we trade Trey and sign Mariota? Absolutely not. Trey Lance, there's no need to trade him. I can't think of a single good reason to trade him. Even if you do acquire a guy like Mariota, the Niners needed 4 quarterbacks this season. 4. What are we getting rid of anybody for? We needed all 4 of those guys, and we ran out. We actually went through 4. We needed a 5th. There's absolutely no way I'm getting rid of a quarterback right now, especially someone with the projected upside of a guy like Trey. Think about that also, right? We've seen Mariota come into the league. We've seen him fail. He's just okay, right? If he came in here and he played well, we're going to say, oh, well, this is what Kyle Shanahan's system does. So then why not keep a guy with just as much upside, maybe more upside, a younger guy in Trey Lance, right? Let them also come into the same system and play well as well. All right. Let's see here. Ali is in the building. He says, in that quote, where do you think Aaron Rodgers ends up? Packers, Raiders, retires, somewhere else? Love you, Mike. Happy March Madness. Great question, Ali. Thanks for participating, man. Love you too. I think Aaron Rodgers ends up in. Oh man, there's a part of me that thinks he goes somewhere in the division, believe it or not, but I don't know a team that is going to want him. He's not going to go to Minnesota. He's not going to go to Chicago. Detroit, I don't know if they're willing to move on from Jared Goff, so he might not go in that division. But what if Aaron Rodgers went to the Colts? I think that would be a great fit, and that's just me trying to be different. All right, I'm going to say the Colts. I think Aaron Rodgers to the Colts would be very, very interesting. Trejo is in the building. Brandon, he says, what are your thoughts on the Jalen Carter situation? Does this drop him out of the top 5? If I'm not mistaken, this is the DT of the car racing situation, right? And I just want you guys to remember that he is not charged with anything to do with the deaths of those 2 people. He is charged for driving at a high speed. He's charged with racing, all right? It's a misdemeanor. And that's if he's found guilty and, if he's punished to the full extent of the law. I do think that he will drop out of the top 5. However, I don't think that he will drop out of the first round. All right, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a bad thing to come out so close to the combine and everything. But the good news is he's going to get an opportunity to sit down in front of teams that may potentially be drafting him and give his side. He might even have some message from his legal representation. I saw one online today, so we'll see how prepared he is for that later. Mike, do you agree that Trey's time for development is over and it's a show up and show out situation? John, 100%. I see so many people going back and forth and they talk about how Trey hasn't played and Trey's not the guy. We should stick with Purdy and blah, 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 blah. And when you start questioning these people, they say, well, Trey just doesn't have the experience. Well, the only way that he's going to get the experience is playing. There is no more time for you to know the system. You're not going to know the system any better than what you know it right now. I understand that he hasn't physically played, but you've got to be up to football speed and you got to be ready to go. You got to hit the ground running, Trey. You don't have any excuses. This team is too good. The players around him are too good. He's going to have to come in here and not show signs of a guy who has only played 18, 19 football games since in college and the pros. He's going to have to look like someone who's played more than that. All right. So that's just where he is. That's just where he is. We're going to have to see what happens. All right. Let's see what else we got here. We got a few more minutes left. All right. Moment. Let me see here. He says also, what's this brace surgery option they're going with to repair Purdy's UCL? I'm going to be completely honest with you, John. I have not paid any attention to the speculation of what they're going to do with Purdy. Every couple of days, the damage changes. Every couple of days, the type of surgery he needs changes and all that. I'm not going to get caught up in all that stuff. To be completely honest with you, I am going to sit back and just wait and see what happens when they go in and what kind of repairs they did. And that's it. I don't have I can't, I'm not a medical person. I don't go Google the stuff just so I can, tweet it out and things like that. There's some things I would rather react to instead of try to predict and all. So we'll see what happens. I hope that he doesn't need much surgery at all. I hope they can get him cleaned up and his bounce back time is sooner rather than later. All right. Lewis is back again. He says, if Kyle doesn't do anything this year, such as not going to the playoffs, should he be fired? That is a tough question, man. Firing Kyle is going to be really, really hard. I will say if he doesn't make the playoffs this year, he will be put on the hot seat afterwards. Making the playoffs 4 of the last 5 years, or 3 of the last 4 years, I apologize. Making the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years, getting all the way to NFC Championship games. That's going to buy you a little bit more time. Especially when you consider that he hasn't had the same quarterback. He's been shuffling through guys, right? So I don't think that he's going to be on the hot seat right away. But it would take a miracle It would take some sort of act of God or some whatever deity you believe in. It's going to take something special for Kyle to not make the postseason. The Niners are a really, really good team. All right. There's my timer there. We're at the 15-minute mark. Yeah, that's going to do it. You guys keep that Rams fan in check out there in the chat, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, tomorrow night, same time, same place. I might actually be in the bed tomorrow night though. So, some March Madness after dark. I'll see y'all then. Peace.